So if you've clicked on this video, you've probably already seen countless tutorials showing you how to build AI agents and automations. Chances are, after watching the entire video and trying to do it yourself, you've realized that it's a bit more complicated than you're being told. And if you're non-technical, maybe you even got unstuck and abandoned the entire idea of building an AI agent in the first place. Well, if that's the case, then this video should change everything for you, as I will be showing you a platform called Lindy, which makes building powerful AI agents and automations an absolute breeze, making the building process with it highly intuitive and absolutely rapid. And to show you how powerful and easy this platform is, we'll be comparing it directly to one of the most powerful AI automation platforms out there, which is n8n. And actually what I've done is I screenshotted some of the more popular automations that people are building on n8n. And what we'll do is we'll go over the workflows in these automations and we'll rebuild them in Lindy in fraction of the time. So by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly how to use Lindy to set up all kinds of automations, and you will see just how easy it makes it compared to other automation platforms. But without further ado, let's get right into building. So this is the first automation that we will build. Excuse me for the blurry screenshot. This was a screenshot from a video. So what this automation is that it's a simple email sorter as well as a responder. What happens here in n8n is that we have a scheduled trigger, then we basically get all the threads, then we get all the messages from those threads, then we create a variable for those threads and messages. Then we have an AI text classifier, which is connected to a ChatGPT model, which basically takes the data from all of the emails, processes it, and then creates categories, which then go through these filters to add tags and to mark these emails as read. Then if a category is a lead, then it goes through the filter here, gets labeled as a lead. Then we have an agent here that will respond to that lead, create a Google document of the response, and draft a reply. Quite a complicated setup for this use case. By the way, before we proceed with Lindy, setting this up in n8n, if you know what you're doing, will probably take you like 10 to 15 minutes. If you don't know what you're doing, I think this will take you more than an hour. Once you register and log into Lindy, this is the screen that you'll be greeted with. You can either start with the template here, or we can start the new Lindy from scratch, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on new Lindy. I'm going to click start from scratch. We'll start at the trigger, search for Gmail, choose email received. Here on the right, we can click and log in with our Gmail account. It's a simple login, nothing complicated. Here we can set up filters and other things. However, for our case, I'm not going to do that. Next, I'm going to add another action. I'm going to click Gmail and I'm going to click on add label to email. That's it. Now we have an automation that automatically labels our emails and we can quickly test it out. For example, here I had an email with a verification code from AliExpress. And that's it. A label was added. We can even click on this action step here and see what the label is, and it is verification codes, exactly what the email was. This literally took us 30 seconds. So the main thing in n8n is that for each trigger and each step, you'll have to go through manually, set up different fields, make sure that they work together, test each step. However, with Lindy, we have AI integrated into every step. Each step within our automation can use AI to understand the previous steps and automatically fill in each field. As you could see here on the right, in the label name, I have it set on auto. However, if we don't want to leave it on auto and we want to have our own control, we can change it to prompt AI. And here we can actually prompt it as we would prompt an LLM on what we want to do. So here I could say label sponsorship request emails as sponsorships. I could give it here a list of labels so that it classifies each thing as I wanted to. However, if we really wanted to be bulletproof, there's another way to do this. We could actually add a condition. So we could click on this plus button here, click condition, and we could say go down this path if email is about sponsorships. So now this condition will only get triggered if the email received is about sponsorships, and then it will go down this label to email. And here, for example, we can change the label to manual and we can change it to sponsorships. This way we won't have any LLM hallucinations. It will only go down this path if the condition is met here. So in just a few steps, we automated this entire section. However, there's another section here, which is an autoresponder to leads. So let's quickly set that up as well. To do that, all I have to do is I can click on the condition step here. Then I can say, go down this path if the email is asking for information on our products. So now we have another condition for emails that ask us about products. We can click on the plus button here and then add an AI agent. So this agent will be able to actually respond rather than just adding a label to the email. To make sure that it can respond, we have to add a skill here. And as you could see here, it's already suggested send reply. But I'm not going to add that because I actually wanted to make drafts. So I'm going to click on the plus button here, search for draft, and click on this one, draft email. And then here in the prompt, I can tell it you are a customer support agent that responds to user emails regarding our products. You could customize this prompt as much as you want, give it all the details, for example, about your products or the tone you want it to respond, etc. And if you actually want to give it context and a knowledge base to answer from, we can do that as well. We can click on the plus button here and then add search knowledge base. In the knowledge base, you can upload documents, your website, text. You can even link your Google Drive with all the context that this agent might need. And you can even mix different knowledge together. So you could upload PDFs about your business. You could also add your website. And in this case, what will happen is when an email asks about a product, it will go through the knowledge base first, searching for context for what the user is asking for. Then it will take that information forward to our agent so that our agent can draft a response. And that's it. We have a powerful automation here that can label emails. We could add as many more different conditions and different labels as we want. And we have a responder that can actually use Gmail and a knowledge base from our business to respond to our customers. So in just a few minutes, we built an automation that's actually even more powerful than this, because in this case, there is not even a knowledge base linked to this agent. But we finished the first one. Let's set up the next one. Now, the second automation is a meeting to content repurposer. What it does is that it takes meetings and repurposes them into content. As you could see out here already, it's quite complicated. We have multiple steps. We have external platforms like Supabase. We have multiple filters. We have HTML requests. We have file conversions, text conversions, vector bases, etc. While I'm sure this automation works really well and it probably does this job amazingly, I think it's way too complicated for the use case. So now let me show you how to set that up in Lindy. What I did is I went to templates, I searched up for meeting, then I'm going to click on this one, instant meeting notes, doc and email. Here we have a Slack connection so that we can actually chat to the meeting notes, but I'm not going to use that. So we'll delete all of this, delete all of that. I'm going to delete this trigger as well and add a new trigger, which is just chat to this Lindy message received, then link that to this condition step here. All this condition step is just make sure that there is a meeting link so that Lindy can join the meeting and actually record it. And in our case, I don't want these two steps either. What I want instead is an AI agent once again. So we're going to click on this one after recording is available, add another step, and then add an AI agent. Then I give it a prompt to turn the meeting recordings into engaging social media content. After that, I'm going to add another step and I'm going to add an action. I'm going to search for Google Doc. I'm going to click create document, choose my Google Drive, and then leave the rest on auto. Then we forgot to define the condition here. So exit once the content has been written. And that's it. So what will happen in this automation is that when we send a meeting link to Lindy, it will record the meeting, then send that recording to the AI agent, which will create the content, which will then be added into a Google Doc. If we want to, we can add another step. We can add a message, send message. That will message us back with the Google Doc URL. So we can click on manual here, click on Google Doc, and then click URL. So that Lindy messages us back just at the URL of the content. I'll click save and test it out. Let's create a Google meeting. Okay, I made a meeting. Let's make a URL here. So I send the Google meeting link to Lindy here. As you can see, now Lindy is trying to join. I click admit all, click admit. So now Lindy is actually in our meeting, recording our meeting. This is a super important meeting talking about Lindy. I would like Lindy to know that we're talking about Lindy and then make a content about it. So yeah, this is it. Now the meeting is finished and let's just end it. So our meeting has been finished and has been processed. And Lindy told me that our meeting actually wasn't long enough to create a piece of content. So he wasn't able to do that because we basically just talked for a few minutes. But if this was a proper meeting, this would have been made into a piece of content, uploaded to a Google Doc, and then sent back to us in a message. So you could see how simple that was compared to setting up something like this. Now, this automation can also access like previous meetings from a database. But if you wanted to set that up in Lindy, that would be very simple as well. All we would have to do is that after recording the meeting, we add another step for creating Google Doc. And then for the content, we just choose transcript. This way, a new Google Doc is created, the transcript. Then we can add append row step, which will take the Google Doc URL and then can add it to the spreadsheet. And then we could set up a new trigger for Google Sheet, new row added, add a spreadsheet URL. Then after this trigger, we can add an agent. Then in the skills, give it a find row skill. And here I just give it a prompt to find the latest updated Google Sheet row and use the transcript from that to craft a compelling piece of content. And to make sure that it works, I tested it out. I added to a spreadsheet this like tiny little transcript. You could see here that triggered the automation. The agent was able to find the row and extract that transcript. So now we have an automation that can transcribe our meetings, put them into a Google Doc, send them to a spreadsheet, and then we have an agent that can turn that into content. So now let's jump into the last screenshot. What it has actually is one main agent, which you can talk to on Telegram. You can send in a message, and what it does is it helps you like organize your calendar. It can create meetings. It then can access your database for any relevant people that you want to add to the meetings, and then it can email them. So it has one agent to basically process your text, and then other agent to process all these individual tasks. Building this in Lindy is way easier. Let me show you. We'll start from scratch again. Here in the trigger, if you want to, as in that example, we could also add Telegram, or if you wanted to, you could add a WhatsApp trigger. However, for our case, I'll keep it simple. Once again, I'll do chat with Lindy, message received. Then I will create an AI agent. Then I'm going to give this AI agent this prompt, telling it that it's my AI assistant. I'll tell it different responsibilities and the things that it will do. In the skills, I'm going to add Gmail. I'm going to add draft email so they can draft emails to invite attendees. If you can also just add send email. So we'll just send an email to attendees by itself. Then I'm also going to add another skill for calendar. Then I'm going to go to the calendar here and I'm going to give it a few skills like adding attendees, checking availability, creating events, deleting events, and finding available times. Then I'm going to click on done. And then I'm going to add another step for the message to send message back to the user once it's done, and define condition once the task requested by user is completed. And that's it. Let's test it out. I'm going to go to tasks. I'm going to say schedule a catch up call with John for tomorrow at 8 a.m. Draft an invitation email as well. His email is john@test.com. Press send. As you could see, event was created, did the attendee email. I had to quickly reconnect my email account, but it's done. There's a meeting link. The attendee did the email. Then I went to my Gmail and the draft email is there as well. As you could see, the email that I provided, even proper email subject, and the email here, as well as the Google Meeting link. As you could see, in literally like under a minute, we set up an AI agent that can schedule a meeting on my calendar, email the attendee, and create the meeting itself. How awesome is this? If we wanted to, we actually don't even need to tell it emails. We could once again add a knowledge base in here and just upload all the different attendees that we usually have, or even link a Notion database, which is where you might have your CRM with all of the emails and the names of the people that you might invite to your meetings. If you wanted to, you could also have it trigger the automation that we did before to transcribe these meetings and turn them into content. Now, I hope from these 3 quick examples, you saw how simple it is to use Lindy to set up AI automations and AI agents. I know we didn't go too in depth, but if you want to see in-depth tutorials on any of the automations that we set up, make sure to check out our channel as we frequently upload highly detailed tutorials there. But before we sign off, I wanted to quickly wrap up highlighting the main differences if you're still not sure if n8n or Lindy is right for you. The first difference is visual. If you've seen n8n tutorials, you'll see how complex their UI is. While it's really powerful, if you're not technical, it's really easy to get lost in it. While in Lindy, everything is straightforward. You set up a trigger, you link your actions, and then you can also add AI agents. And to configure each one of the steps, you simply click on it and edit any of the steps here on the right. Like in n8n, you can set things manually. so that it does exactly what you want. You can prompt it so that it uses LLM within the step to figure out what it should put in a specific field, or you can leave it on auto and let Lindy figure out the specific field all by itself. Unlike n8n and other automation platforms, Lindy takes an AI first approach, where the automations can take context from the previous steps to figure out what to do, basically by themselves. If you remember in our previous examples, there's literally nothing we had to set up. Lindy was able to figure out context by itself and make the automations work for us. It's also really straightforward in Lindy to change the models on the individual steps. You could see here on the right, there's a model section where you can choose between different latest models and some of the older ones. This is great for saving on tokens and ensuring that your outputs are as good as possible, as different models are best for different things. And also, most importantly, Lindy has integrations with hundreds of apps across the internet, making it work with most of your favorite apps. It's got countless scrapers, most popular tools like Google Sheets, Google Drive, Google Calendar, etc. For most of these, all you have to do is just log in with the account and you're ready to go. And most importantly, because Lindy has AI first approach, it's really easy to troubleshoot. When you go through the tasks, you can actually see what the error is. For example, here it literally tells us the bot was in the waiting room and was not admitted. We're not just getting some generic error, we're actually told in plain English what the issue was. And even if you remember for our meeting summary, it told us that it got a transcript, it was following our steps, but it couldn't finish it because the transcript was too short. It's not just giving us errors, it's talking to us like a real employee would, explaining us what the issue is and how to fix it. It's much easier to troubleshoot your automations in Lindy than any other automation platforms out there. So I hope that from all of this, you now understand how simple it is to use Lindy compared to other automation platforms. And if you want to try out Lindy today, click the link in the description. We've got a free trial. You can get started with it, and if you like it, upgrade later on. But I'll see you all in the next video.